This thing working?
Check, check, check. Can you hear me? How about now? Let's see what we got. Check, check. I think we're working. All right. Turn this down. All right. We are live. It's technology. It's amazing. How's my volume? It's only my second time, so be easy on me. I watched YouTube though, so I think I got it figured out, other than the echo. Can't handle that. No, I watched YouTube, so I think I got this figured out. Cameras, mics, monitors, phones, keyboards, thingamajigs, all the good stuff, making this happen. Folks that jumped on the other one, I think I bumped the lighting up a bit. It was a little dark. What's up? Live 5x5. Mic volume is a little low. Hold on, man. Let me check that. Hold on. Let me see here. I got that. How about now? How about now? No? Let me see here. See if I can adjust it on here. Check, 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 check. How about that? Is that better? Worse? Too loud? Am I blowing you out? Stand by. Better. All right, cool. All right, so I jumped on here a couple weeks ago. I kicked off all this stuff in hopes to, let me turn this echo down. In hopes to improve my workflow about getting videos out, specifically training videos. I wanted to be able to get more content out there, training videos. I got people hitting me up regularly on the smallest things that aren't worth maybe making a whole video over, but I can jump on something like this. I can pull up the iPad. Let's see here. See what we got. We get over here. I can pull up the iPad view and see if I can make this thing work. Do a quick bump over like this. Look at that. So my goal with this whole setup, it's right in my backyard. The new shop's in the backyard. I can just come out here, crank out a video. When we got race prep going on, I can get on here, knock out, setting up the course and taking notes and all that good stuff. Do some pre-running courses in here. I got teams that want me to do this kind of training for them, like Zoom type training versus me flying out to the West Coast to do that training. So I'm looking to keep all this set up so I can kind of get that going and help out with all that stuff. Let me get back to turning that on. Again, I'm still learning all this stuff. I got a monitor over here with like how many different HUDs on it. All right. So I was going to get on here last week. We went to the boat show 2 weekends ago or last weekend. And to check that out, to maybe do some stuff on to get into the yachting, the boats. And, I have a lot of boaters that already use LeadNav. So making the exos, actually here, hold on. Look at that. That is a white exo. Why is it white? Because, I don't know, people on boats prefer it like this on the dash. So, but I was planning on jumping on here last week, but my wife and I came back with the crud. So we both were sick. So I'm still getting over that right now. And then we have the Baja 1000. Obviously, folks are getting ready to pre-run. So the past week's been nuts with that. I just got 25 new exos in off the machine. They are getting all Cerakoted right now as we speak. Hopefully I can pick those up tomorrow and start shipping those out the door. I have 3 or 4 team builds just that came in this week alone. So I have iPads sitting here. I got, again, the exos. I got gear piled up over there to build out those packages to send out the door next week. And I'm sure in the next couple weeks, it's going to get crazy with folks needing Baja 1000 gear for pre-running. I think the busiest time of year for us, the busiest time I have is probably 2 weeks prior to the Baja 1000. Folks last minute calling up asking for gear. So check this again. So again, just testing everything. I think it's still good. All right. So the what was I gonna do in here? The t-shirts. So I hit this up on my personal Instagram account. If you follow me, I'm sorry. I do a lot of rambling over there, and I'm trying not to carry that on over here in the LeadNav side of things, but I'm sure some folks are drifting over from that side of my life to LeadNav. And I snuck out the t-shirts, the Bikes, Whiskey, Guns t-shirts that I got done up last week. And folks are jumping on me in my DMs wanting those shirts. So I threw an invite over there for folks to come over here. I'm going to put the shirts up on our store. They'll be available right after this this live, which won't take too long. But the shirts are up there. The Bikes, Whiskey, Guns shirts. Bikes, Whiskey, Guns. The old LeadNav logo on the back. LeadNav logo on the back. So those will be up on the store in about 30 minutes when I'm done here, running my mouth. Let's see what we got here. I am not going to do, Devin's asking about exos for smaller iPads. These exos, I talked about this a little bit on the first live I did. And, we took a 2-year break from making these exos. This exo, this is our 6th. This is model number 6. We used to make cradles. And between the cradles, the iPad case, the fact that when these get launched, we have it takes us about at least a month to design, test before we can start cranking these out. With all the prep before machining. So with that, it gives us about a 3 to 6 month window to sell all the iPads that we can, or all the exos that we can in that small window. So after all that development work, after machining a case like this, having only 3 to 6 months to sell this before the next iPad comes out, it's nearly impossible. I mean, I don't see anybody else trying it, because the window's so small, and by time, I mean, we can't sell enough of them to make up as far as individual sales. So I usually start knocking these out for big contract builds. Folks will, we get team builds, we get group builds, we get a lot of builds outside of desert racing. Folks will get like 10 of these, 10 iPad cases, and then, they're getting training, they're getting consulting, they're getting satellite equipment, they're getting, all that stuff combined. It makes it worth it. And then I try to knock out as many of these as I can, and I try to put them up on the store and for individual purchase. But honestly, it's since we've been doing these, we barely break even on what it takes to make these for the ones that we put up on the store for individual purchase. So I guess to answer your question about minis, we did minis at one time. We tried them. We thought everybody would love mini Exos. Everybody asked me about mini Exos, and when we made them, nobody bought them because folks, when they finally put these in the vehicle, they wanted the bigger display. The mini display was too small for them to see while they're bouncing around, and they wanted the bigger display. And we made mini Exos early on. We thought they were going to be a hit, and nobody bought them. I mean, we were selling maybe 3 or 4 of them, and we were selling hundreds of mid-size iPad. And then I do have a lot of folks hit me up about 12-inch iPads, like the larger one. And again, it's just the quantity. We pick the mid-range iPad, the standard iPad, and we kind of pick a model because now you got the standard iPad, the iPad Air, and the Pro. Well, the Pro we leave, it's a more expensive iPad. It's way overkill to beat up in the field. So we save the Pros for at home with a keyboard and a mouse for all the planning and the prep. And we choose the iPad Air because it's like your middle of the road iPad. And then you could actually use the cheaper iPad that's out. I mean, they're plenty capable now, but that's just it. We just pick one iPad a year and we focus on that one iPad to build out all of our custom mobility packages on. And we plan the Exo around that, and we sell as many as we freaking can, which honestly is less than 100 units in that 6-month window before the next one gets released. And we got to start all over again. So I wouldn't plan on seeing a mini. I did do this is a mini. This is a mini case that we mocked up and we printed in our SLS in nylon 12 glass filled. But I'm still kind of, we mocked this up on cheaper printers. And now that we have this high speed printer in the back here, I do want to reattack this with a better design and possibly offer a mini option in SLS nylon 12 glass filled. So we'll see. I just haven't had the time to reattack that, but we'll see how it goes. All right. So again, this is kind of a test of the system. Appreciate folks jumping on here. I really plan on getting on here and doing race prep videos and kind of news releases, product releases. I want to go over the EXO units once we get them all in here next week. We'll go over all the options. Folks have been hitting me up. It's been a while. Folks are hitting me up like, what cage bracket should I get? What arm? What, right now we've been focusing on just the case, and we're starting to get inventory back in as far as mounts. So I'm going to do a better job and put up on the store, what the options are from iPad to your cage, to your dash, all your different brackets, arm lengths, and all that good stuff. Your power cables and stuff like that. So all right. I'm kind of running off of my plan here, but again, the folks that are coming over for the t-shirts, I'm going to put those up on the store. I got a crate of these things, not many on this first batch, and I'll launch those here in a bit when I get off of here. There you go. Origin story of bikes, whiskey, gun, shirt idea. Who's this? All right. Well, that was my original plan. I didn't know how I was going to go into it. I'd probably bore most people, but I figured the first video on here This, this is the second. The first one was really just a radio check to test all this equipment. But, the folks on the desert or the LeadNav side, folks drifting over from my account know, but maybe all the folks on the LeadNav side don't know, but LeadNav stemmed from a military background. We were developing navigation technology very rapidly operationally. And, that was in a time of war where the op tempo was, we were home 3 to 4 weeks a year and deploying, training trips, just repeat deployments. And during a 10-year time, we went from using Garmin's, just the handheld Garmin unit. We were using Toughbook, Panasonic Toughbooks, running a program called, military guys know, Falcon View, which is this ancient software program built to do all kinds of, different things, for convoy, for flights, for everything. But the basic thing that it gave us was map imagery in the background. So back then, early on, we were hauling around a Toughbook laptop. We could only bring it where we were in vehicles. We couldn't take it on foot with us, obviously. But we were hauling around a laptop that had map imagery in the background and, a basic GPS point, fix on our location. And, to help us deviate in the field. That's all we had. And we used Falcon View to plan our routes at that time. This is 2005, 2006 timeframe. That's all we had. And we basically look at a flat map and plan everything. So that kind of evolved very quickly with the help of a few folks. And Google Earth coming out, which is a software program that everybody can use. A lot of desert racers use it. A lot of people that actually plan or navigate know about it and they use it. You can download it for your computer. And actually, I can show you here. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see here. So, see if I can pull it up here. I had it prepped. All right, there you go. So once Google Earth came out, again, this is operationally. This is where LeadNav came from, and I'm going to get to the bikes, whiskey, guns part of it. If you're in the military, you probably can guess where the whiskey came from. But, so, once Google Earth became available, we could run that operationally, and it was a game changer. We were planning target hits, and some of the night of we'd get the target, and we had to plan that route in sometimes we'd have 30 minutes. So Google Earth was a game changer to actual see terrain. Over obviously Iraq, Afghanistan, especially Afghanistan, there's some very rugged terrain, and to be able to quickly, like I'm doing here, and actually we had like a 3D mouse over here, you could fly around and stuff like that. But what Google Earth gave us was it was an actual elevation model called DTED. It's a level 3, meaning every 30 meters you have an elevation change. So you actually get a good idea of terrain versus what we had just years prior, a flat image. So, looking at stuff like this, we were able to plan routes very rapidly, looking at terrain, picking out where we were going to land and all that good stuff. But we could basically, and we had this down, we could do this in 30 minutes. But we would sit here on Google Earth. We would, draw it where I'm at. We'd sit here, jam out a line through the terrain. And again, I wouldn't want to take this route, but just for an example, we would sit here, jam out the route, and we'd take that line and we'd convert it and export it into a Garmin GPS unit, right? So we would take that line, we'd actually put range rings around the target area, so we would know the mileage. Basically, we'd pick how far out we wanted to come in from, and then we would rapidly just draw a line to target. Google Earth changed the game in that, because at home we could sit here and do this in like 30 minutes, just looking at terrain, getting a good idea of the surrounding area, and you get a pretty good elevation model. Again, it's 30-meter increments, but we could sit there and jam out a route pretty quick and jam it into our Garmin device, which at the time Garmin started playing with something called bird's eye imagery. They started letting you put basically map imagery in the background, but it was really poor quality imagery. I mean, it was enough to kind of see where villages were, where farmland was, where mountains were. I mean, you could kind of, it was enough detail to see that, but compared to today, it was nothing like we have today. What you can do on an iPhone and iPad. So you know, once we kind of got a taste for this stuff, it started evolving from this to us wanting better terrain models, which I can take you over to take you over here. All right. So one of our teammates, I'll say his name, Rob Reeves, we actually lost him during that time. He actually started messing around with this stuff. And I was new in Recce. I was a new sniper at the command. And I remember the first day he showed this stuff to me, and it didn't look anything like this. It's basically, he was talking about these point clouds. I had no idea what the heck he was talking about. It didn't look anything like this. It was more grainy. And he was showing me target areas with just these colored dots all over them. And he's looking at them, you know, getting all excited. And it took me a while to realize what it was. But anyway, he was all excited about this LiDAR technology. And, you know, again, a couple guys were working on this, and unfortunately we lost them over there. And, but the work he started kind of got us going in this stuff. And, you know, we started bringing this in from outside companies that handle this, you know, it's more of a geography, you know, scanning type of thing. It wasn't military, but we started bringing these commercial contractors in to show us this technology. And then, soon this stuff was on all the different air assets we had. So we could sit here and scan it. What it is, it's basically, it's laser pinging the ground. And let me get back up on here. I want to get, hold on a second. Make sure you know me. You guys are probably bored. I'm boring you already. But anyway, this stuff here, we were basically laser pinging the ground. And instead of getting a 30-meter elevation model where every 30 meters, you know, like on Google Earth, you could, I mean, it looks like you could walk up a cliff, but you can't, because in that 30 meters, you know, it could be straight up and down. Well, with this stuff, we were able to take this LiDAR and drape it with an image, and we could get down to 1 meter. By the end of it, we had 1 meter terrain models of all of Afghanistan that we were operating in. And then we could request a 15 centimeter. So we were getting terrain that looked, let me see here. Let me see. So instead of something like this right here, again, this is just me trying to figure out all the switches. Hold on, bear with me. All right, hold on a second. I know there's a video. We had a video we did. Here we go. All right. So let me see here. Trying to work this thing. Anyway, looks something like this here. So we started pulling imagery that looked like this right here. Right. And if anybody can guess where that's at, I'm sure you can. We actually pulled over along the road at one of the races, and we flew a drone and we collected this, and we produced our own, point cloud of this little area a few years back. Anyway, get back to anyway, to answer your question. This opened up the doors to us launching the first dirt bike strikes in Afghanistan. So us being able to pull this type of mapping was the justification for the bosses letting us actually launch dirt bikes at night out of helos and doing strikes, because we had this kind of capability at our disposal. Like, we could sit there and show them, hey, we are going to go down this goat trail, down this ravine to this, being able to show them, specifically, hey, this is the terrain we're going to be in. This is where we're going to go. Once we had this capability, it opened up the dirt bike option to us. So there's your bikes. And again, the whiskey part of it, that's kind of a given. I mean, we were in the military. And the let me get back up on chat here. Sorry, I'm terrible at this. There, I'm back up on chat. Johnson Valley. Yep, you guessed it. That's the piston rocks where everybody pulls over to take a leak before they go into the valley. That 3D model was of Johnson Valley, where all the graffiti rocks are. So we pulled over there with a DJI drone, and we actually let it fly a mapping mission real quick. And then you took all those photos, and it actually takes distance, and it's not LiDAR, but it's kind of the same tech, and it paints that point cloud and drapes the imagery over that terrain. Anyway, that's the capability we got to. So in a 10-year time frame, we got from using a paper map to basically a 3D model of the target. That 3D model of the target area allowed us to launch the dirt bike options. And, from there, I mean, again, anybody in the military knows, I mean, we drank a lot of whiskey. In fact, here, I pulled up a photo for y'all. I actually had a photo of never mind. I won't pull that up. But anyway, the bikes, whiskey, guns came from that background. A buddy of mine, we actually, from that, I got into bike building while the limited time I was home. A buddy of mine, we started Bikes, Whiskey, Guns during that whole deployment cycle thing back in, over a decade ago. And we got really into you know, bobber building and everything else, which led to a bunch of team guys when we were home, which was limited, drinking a lot of whiskey and riding a lot of Harleys and acting like complete idiots when we were home. So, hence the bike whiskey guns slogan came out during that time, during that deployment time. And at that same time, we were trying to evolve the capability. Motion X was out at the time. Again, iPads and iPhones came out 2007, kind of during all this. So once the iPad came out, we started seeing the possibility of putting the map imagery onto the iPad. There was an app, if y'all remember, if y'all were in the, iPhones back in the 08, 09 timeframe, there was an app called Motion X. It was the first GPS app. I'll say today, it's probably still the first, or still the only, other than LeadNav, it's the only other app that focuses on a GPS or GPS interface. It's not a trail map. It's not a, every other app out there is a trail-based mapping system. When we built LeadNav, we wanted to build a GPS interface. Well, that's what Motion X was for us back in 08, 09. And they started letting you cache map imagery into the background. So once that capability came out, we were able to we started using the iPads overseas, which caused a big stink. Of course, NSA and everybody else was freaking out at the time. And we were pushing the use of smartphones and tablets through those years. And again, everybody was like, you will never use a smartphone ever operationally, all this good stuff, which led into, as you know, the military jumping big into tablets and smartphones. So I was there on that board trying to lead that on my, I was coming up on my retirement date, and I was there trying to kind of guide that system that we started, and the military had other plans and just kind of took off with it in their own direction. And it wasn't really what I wanted at that time. And a buddy of mine was like, well, why don't you just build it yourself? Hence, coming up on my 20 years in the military, we kicked LeadNav off about 2 years prior to me getting out. So during that time of getting out, I had no intention of putting LeadNav, or I didn't even know what desert racing was, honestly. And one of my buddies, one of my teammates, was into desert racing. He was good buddies with Ricky Johnson. And I'm sure y'all know who Ricky Johnson is. He can ride dirt bikes too. He definitely has the bikes down. But introduced me to him. He took me to my first Baja 1000 in 2014. I think it was right when Roger Norman was taking over. And I was still operational. So I kind of, the command knew what I was doing. I was building an off-road GPS app. And they were kind of like, you're kind of on that line. So I had to be careful. I didn't want to cross over to military. And honestly, today, I still don't want to. I'm still not catering to military operations, even though that's where this came from. But he kind of got me into the desert racing thing. I showed up my first Baja 1000 in 2014, and I saw these awesome trophy trucks for the first time. And I was like, this is pretty badass. And then I'm looking in the console, and they're running Fish Finder GPS units, Lowrance's. And I was like, what the fuck? You got this high speed truck. You're not even running Garmin's. You're running a Lowrance Fish Finder. And it took me years to kind of figure out how that happened. But, me getting out, I still had 2 years left. So I was like, all right, well, I'll start catering the app towards this desert racing thing as proof of concept in the civilian world. Because at that time, y'all were like, we can't put tablets in a race car. You were saying the same thing that the military was telling me a decade prior when we were pushing all this technology into the military. Again, the military said, you will never do this ever. And then it became mission priority number one in the military operations and spec ops to have tablets and smartphone integration. So that's kind of how I led into our that kind of technology into the military side. On my way out, I was new coming into desert racing, but it was the same template. It was the same thing I already went through for a decade. A guy's trying to, operate, and girls at the professional level, off-road, and you get a route that you don't know you have to pre-run. Actually, you get to pre-run it. I didn't get to pre-run my routes, but you get to pre-run. So it's the same thing. And then when you go hit the, you're kind of running the route for the first time really come race day. So it's kind of the same template. So I kind of launched into that for 2 years as a proof of concept. Anyway, I'm rambling now. But I'm going to, again, my main focus with this live thing is to get on here and just, folks hit me up about different topics. I can just get on here and hopefully do a quick tutorial. I'm not going to do many lives. All right. Sorry, I'm watching the screen over here. I'm getting notifications by YouTube to watch my languages. Sorry, I'm watching the screen pop up. I'm getting community guideline hitted to watch my mouth. All right. That's it. Y'all don't care about that. But the Bikes, Whiskey, Guns t-shirts, that's where it came from. It came from a history of bikes, whiskey, and guns. And you can get them now on the store. Yep. I won't ramble anymore. I'm going to go and turn those on. There'll be a link down in this description of this YouTube, but you can go up on the store and I'll actually turn them on. Hold on. Let me see here. I actually sent the first t-shirt out to Ricky Johnson this week, since he kind of kicked off the whole desert racing thing. He got me sucked into that sport, so you can thank him. All right, products. All right. I turned them on. Again, there's a limited batch of these. If you want them, go get them. That's it. Just a little background. Lots of rambling. There's a lot more into that, but again, I suck at talking on here, so apologies. There's too much going on right now. I got 3 screens over here, this screen over here. I'm still learning this system, operating all this crap. That's it, folks. Little history. Folks ask me all the time about the Google Earth stuff too. I want to get on here and do a Google Earth class about just reviewing and planning routes on Google Earth, transferring that route over to LeadNav, prepping it inside LeadNav before you go out into the field with audio, visual, stuff like that. It all carries over. Again, both, everything. We don't just use LeadNav. We use other programs. Some of the stuff I showed you. We use terrain models. We use different things, software packages to kind of build out that trip packages or that trip package online. And then we dump it into the device before we go into the field. But the beauty of it and the thing that we wanted to build is something that you can deviate from that course in the field, building your routes, your points, and everything else with. So that's it. If y'all, for some reason, enjoy listening to me ramble, let me know. But I mainly want to know different topics. Folks, like just this week alone, people were asking me about backing up collections, you know, organizing your Dropbox folders to organize your trips. The tracking, I want to do the tracking videos, the group tracking videos. I want to set up the live prep on the race, especially this Baja 1000 coming up. We'll walk through that file when it comes out. On that, people were asking me already about the race package. If I'm going to have a pre-ran course file, I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody yet that's going to be running or down there pre-run yet to see if we're going to have that this year. But I'll let you know here in the coming weeks. I'm just scrambling right now, getting the orders out the door. Again, I got like 3 or 4 packages just this week. I came in. I need to get out the door next week, and I'm sure the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty nuts with folks needing gear and hardware and stuff like that. So, but I'll be organized next time. Again, I'm folks that follow me on my personal account. It's easier to stare at a phone and just run my mouth. This thing, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I need to learn the system. So sorry. But I think that's it. I'll cut myself off right there. Everybody have a good weekend. Later.